It's so
Awesome.
I love it.
Well, you're invited, let's dive in. It will be completely different, a different flavor of creativity today, and we're just going to dive in and have a different way of fun. Um, just a reminder, we are recording, so we're not recording on Zoom, so you won't see the little buttons that say that. But if you need to do anything to take care of yourself, just go ahead and take care of that. I would love to see you on camera, but I do hold the space for everybody who's not here or, traveling, not here on camera, but behind the camera. If you want to just give me a little bit, tell me where you're calling in from, put it in the chat, let me know. I'd love to see, I'm an avid traveler and I love to see our global footprint and see how the ripple is kind of spreading out in the world. It's COVID time still, not traveling as much as I'd love to do that. Montreal, great. And just as we come into this space, LA, Connecticut, oh, South Africa. Just
Oh, is
really
she
kind of
frozen? Oh, there you are.
just pull in all of your attention, like roll it all in, just feel all of the tendrils of your attention coming back here into this new present moment, allowing it to just cascade over you and however it's going to show up today. I just want to say hello to Crystal and Ryan. They'll be helping today with the technology and moderating the chat. And let me just take a moment to introduce myself. If you don't know me yet, I'm Jenn Baljko, and I am a joy journeying guide, whatever that means. I'm still inventing it as we speak, but I am using mindful writing, mentoring, creativity mentoring, and reinvention mentoring to help people manage the pivots of their lives and really go out and navigate with joy and awe and wonder more than the key performance indicators that we have in life of like being productive and hitting deadlines and going after ambitiously all the things that we need in the world. I have had many opportunities in my life to recalibrate, and this is the new role that I'm stepping into. I'm also, it comes out of 30 years of journalism experiencing, traveling through 50 something countries, walking across 2 continents, which is my most significant milestone by far. And I've moved, I grew up in New Jersey, I packed my car, moved to California, packed my life, moved to Barcelona. I'm now living abroad in a town just outside of Barcelona. I've been here for about 15, 16 years already. So reinvention to me is as much as part of my life as creativity is. I am also now holding space as a mindfulness meditation facilitator, and I also guide movement, the Femme movement experience as created by Bernadette Pleasant. So from the Emotional Institute, she's just opened up my life a lot, and I'll give her that little shout out there. But the way that I sort of have come into all of this is that journalism is always about like producing content for other people's, bang out the story, bang out the story, bang out the story. And I got really tired of doing that, especially after all this long 3.5 year walk that I did. It really changed my point of view. And going closer to my 50, I turned 50 in January. So I definitely needed a different thing to do in my life when we came back after the walk. And now I'm also, I've shifted to doing more editing, giving space for other people to tell their story, doing more slow, coming back into your own space, kind of nurturing. And now that the whole world has just gone through pandemic situations, I think there's going to be a lot of transformation coming up in a lot of ways to kind of figure out how we're going to appreciate the small joys that bubble up, how we're going to step into our lives more fully. So that's what I'm going to offer today, and we'll talk a little bit about it, but I want to tell you a little bit about how I came to the idea of joy as a navigation point. And oh, Crystal, could you please give me sharing, or Ryan? I don't see Ryan in here. If you can give me sharing capacity. Oh, Crystal, I can't hear you.
Ryan should be able to give you co-host.
Oh, okay. All right, I'll just wait for him to do this. And as we do this, I just wanted to set it up because it's quite funny how I came to joy as sort of a way that life is going to show me the way on a joy journey. As I mentioned, I walked from Bangkok to Barcelona with my love. We still love each other, surprisingly, after this extraordinarily hard experience. When we were in Azerbaijan, we passed through 21 nation states, and in 2021, in August of 2021, we were walking in Azerbaijan. It was about 110 degrees almost every single day. That's like, I don't know, 37, 38, 40 degrees Celsius. We were with visa restrictions, so we had to walk about 27 to 30 kilometers every day. That's about 18 miles, carrying about 40 pounds. I was carrying about 22 kilos on my back with about 6 liters of water. The most like uncomfortable things that you could imagine. Like we were every single day at our discomfort level, like, God, what are we doing? I'm wearing long sleeve shirts all the way down to here, long pants, a hat, a scarf, because that was the best sun protection. There were no trees for long periods of time. At one point in time, the middle of the day, there were cows walking home in the middle of the day. Cows don't do that. They stay out in the fields until it gets dark. But they walked across the road and they went back into their stables. There were moments before this. There were moments before Azerbaijan, but there were many moments after Azerbaijan too. But in this particular moment, on this particular day, Luis and I were walking. We don't often walk together. We have different rhythms. And with our backpacks, we just have to walk. We come together and then we leave, and then we come together and then we walk separately. So in this moment, we were together. And I was getting really frustrated. It was this point of the day where I was getting cranky, I was getting tired, I was getting hungry. Next town wasn't for kilometers away. There were no shade. So if Kim, if you can give me sharing permission, I'm just going to show you what I look like in this, because I think if you see how I looked, you might give me a little sympathy for what I'm about to complain about. But, oh, okay, thanks, awesome. This is what I look like. Hold on. Oh, where's that photo? Can you see it? Hold on, let me pull it up on my screen in a bigger way. Sorry if you're seeing all these other windows, but this is what I look like. This is in Georgia a few weeks later in September when it was a bit cooler and cold because I had my jacket on. But this is what I look like for about 3.5 years, walking like this. Oh, you do? How do I change that? Is this better? Well, all right. Well, I'm going to stop sharing. I'll put it in the Facebook group if anybody cares, and they can go to if you care. It's at Bangkok, Barcelona, on foot.com, and there are tons of photos like this with me. But so that's the how I'm walking through Azerbaijan, right? And I'm like, Luis, really, like, what's the joy in this? What are we doing this for? Like, oh my God, it's so damn hot. Like, it's so hot all the time. It's just so freaking hot. What's the joy in this? I'm so tired. Like, we're just walking all the time. Walking. I know we have a visa thing. We got to keep walking. And he's like, he's very clear about this. He's like, don't you find it like amazing and joyful that we're just out in the world and meeting all these great people and doing all this ice? And yeah, but what's the joy, like, in this moment? He's like, I don't know, like, you figure it out, right? This is an ongoing dialogue we have of me, like, what are we really doing this for? And what's the bigger purpose and the meaning? And he's just a guy. He's like, look, we got to get to the next town. We got to find a place to camp. You know, we got to do this. Like, he just doesn't have time for this existential crisis that I'm in. So off he goes. He's walking, and I'm like this, slumping through Azerbaijan. It's grape harvest season, and there are farmers pulling in their grapes and selling them on the side of the road, which was helpful, and helpful to see people, because we hadn't seen people for a while. 4x4 stops in the middle of the road. Guy gets out. He's from Baku, from the capital. Comes over and says, what are you doing here? Like, who are you? I'm like, oh, we're walking. Oh, you're walking in Azerbaijan in August? Yeah, we've been walking since Bangkok. You know, face like, oh my God, you've been walking since Bangkok. Like, what are you doing? Let me buy you grapes. So we have this, he's buying me grapes. I'm like, no, it's okay. He's like, no, it's so hot. You need grapes. So we got grapes. He is so impressed by us. Like, you know, you don't meet people every day walking on the side of an Azerbaijan road who just came from Bangkok. But so he calls out his wife, and his wife and his son come out. And I'll just start by saying that I love to follow cosmic breadcrumbs. And this is like part of my joy. It's all about a lot of serendipity. It's all about just holding space for awe and wonder and for the small joys, like for the small things that just happen in life, right? So here we are walking. The guy who gets out of the car, his name is Vusal. And Vusal means meeting and joining. I just say this as a little side note because the whole thing becomes like a divine experience for me. The son's name is Mehdi, and that means guided one. So I have this joining that's guided. The wife comes over, and we had been talking for a while. We hadn't exchanged names right away. It was right before we left. And she's like, hi, you know, just call me Savenge. And I'm like, okay, Savenge. She's like, but really, you could just call me Joy because that's the word in English. And I literally, like, it took almost everything in me not to like cry because I was just 10 minutes ago saying, what's the joy in this? What's the joy in this? What's the joy in all of this? And a woman, out of all the names in the world, the woman who gets out of the car, her name is Joy. And she's this, you know, vibrant, beautiful woman. She's just in her own space and she's happy. They're going off, they're leaving hot Baku and going to the mountains and spending their summer vacation up in the mountains by a lake. She's just, and I'm looking at her like, your name is Joy? She's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, that's funny. So I caught up to Luis. He saw that I was talking to somebody, which often happens. So he's waiting for me. I'm like, look, we have grapes. Do you know who that woman was? That woman's name is Joy. He's like, yeah. And I said, we were just talking about joy. We were just talking about it. Like, in my crisis, like, joy showed up. Isn't that crazy? Like I'm eating grapes and he's eating grapes. And I'm like, this is craziness. This is crazy coincidence. And I thought, oh, you know what this is? This is like the universe saying to me, Jen, wake up. Joy is always in front of you. It's always there. It is your essence. And you can cultivate it. And you can just look and see where it is. And from that moment on, there were many difficult moments after this, and I still question what is the joy in all of this. But from that moment on, it really became, for me, oh, is it possible for me to have a joy journey? Is it possible that I could, in some way, move my own scale, the thing that I thought I was always going after in life, you know, like whatever that, I don't even know what it was, like monetary wealth, I don't know, prosperity, like a new title, I don't even know. Could I actually shift? And what would happen if my compass point actually said, do joyful work? You know, what would happen? And it's this very small moment in the course of a million other moments, but it gave me a lot to think about. And this is why I feel So many of us, because we do jobs that we don't like and we show up and we do everybody else's work, that we forget to take a pause and just to play and to think that something else is possible. And this is where I also have found that being more in my creative space is super important. Because it's when I'm in my creative space that I feel powerful, that I feel like just blissful, right? Even if I'm angry or frustrated, if I can just get my hands into like clay or silly putty or do something, it just shifts something. And then I can come back into the world and be whatever else I need to be that day. So that's where we're going to start. And my idea for the creativity practice, and I can't believe how much it helped me during the pandemic. When we were in lockdown, when we were going through, here in Europe, we had all sorts of waves of pandemic problems. You know, one time we're in, you know, there's all these restrictions. You can't even keep up with what's going on. And coming out of this walk, that taught me this incredible amount of endurance and resilience. And it had already shifted my idea of what I wanted out of my life to be a more joyful experience going into a new decade. You know, this walk occupied all of my 40s, from the planning and from the idea planning, from routing out the maps, from saving money for it, to the walk, to coming back. Like, this is my entire 40s was about this walk. And now whatever came out of that walk in my 50s is what is next. So the idea that I could lead my life with joy, and then I can get through this pandemic with the endurance and resilience, but by just coming back to the idea that I am a creative being and I have something to offer in the world, was really what got me through the pandemic. And I began to think of like, well, I have a meditation practice, and that controls the controls. That helps me gauge the weather of my mind and my thoughts, which we all know about. You know, meditation gives you mental stability and stamina and all that. And then you get into embodiment practices, right? Where you're speaking your body's language and connecting your body back into your life. And then you have the heart language of kindness and generosity and love, of course. But then I started to really wonder, like, what is my spirit's language? Like spirit, soul, higher self, inner knowing, whatever word you use it here. But there is something else besides our physical and emotional body. And it needs to be able to speak to us. It's the muse whispering in your ear when you're sitting down to write a book. It's the artist muse. It's when you show up in your day job and have to creatively solve a problem that you didn't have just a few minutes ago. So this is, for me, the language of my spirit is my creativity. And specifically, it's with my hands. I feel it very strongly in my hands. So that's where we're going today. And just to set up the rest of the day, I really believe that there are small little practices that we can do every day to create a creativity practice. But more than that, I feel that it has to be a ritual. That giving yourself just 2 minutes, 5 minutes, a half an hour, most days a week, to come back into your center and say, I'm creating a little ritual around this. Maybe I pick a card, maybe I just draw for a few minutes, and you just come back in and you say, okay, that's me being expressive, and it's impermanent. Like create impermanent art and just put it aside. It doesn't, you know, we're all contributing to the masterpiece of life, and we're all adding a stroke. So when we add our strokes, that gives us more. We're giving and we're receiving at the same time. And that's the practice we're going to work on today. If you can, you'll need a couple minutes. If you can do whatever you want for the mindful writing part. It's not going to be a mindful writing. I thought it was going to be, but it's going to be open for whatever you want. We're going to do a few minutes of gentle movement. So clear your space. Just make sure your space is okay, that you can move around. We do want to take up some space while we're here. We're going to do a few minutes of meditation, and we're going to do a few minutes of creating. And if you want to do it with writing or with pen and paper or markers, if you have some silly putty or Play-Doh or clay, if you have no materials, I mean, you can get fancy and get the glue and the scissors, go gather them up, and you can get fancy here. That's great. But if you don't have anything, we're just going to make forms with our fingers also. All right. So take just a minute to get yourselves check here. I'll just stop this for a second. Can you just give me a thumbs up if you can hear me talk? And the music is coming up. I'll play it again, but if you can give me a thumbs up. Hold on, I need to be a little bit louder. Riley, can you hear it? You can hear me and the music okay? All right, great. I'm just gonna stop it for a second and give everybody a chance to come back in. Oh, my connection seems to be cutting in and out. I wonder why that is. I'm not getting any message saying that. Okay, let me try the music again, Ryan. Let me see if you can hear. Am I cutting out? And if I come over here, if I come back here, can you still hear me? It seems good now. Okay, thank you, Ryan. Appreciate that. Okay. So when you're ready, stay with your camera off. You can stay with your camera on. You will be witnessed. And part of our creative joy journey is to be witnessed. And you will be witnessed on or off camera. So come into a nice grounded position. You could keep your feet really close to each other. You could keep it a little bit wider than hips. Beginning to feel just grounded. Coming to maybe a modified mountain pose. And your hands facing out. Shoulders are rolling down and back. Allowing yourself to just be here, be present. Taking a little bit of a temperature of your mind. Feeling a little bit of the temperature of your body. Not the actual hot or coldness of it, but just sort of, how's it going today? You could begin to show me this a little bit, like maybe there's a little bit of movement starting to come. Really gentle here at first. Taking a couple steps forward and backwards just to get used to being in this space. Going to the side a little bit. Turning your back even to the camera. Looking around all the space that you're in. Beginning to see how your hands want to move today. Beginning to feel how your shoulders and your elbows want to move. You know how to do this. I will just guide. You begin to feel empowered to do any flavor of movement that feels good. You'll start feeling it in your hips. And you'll start feeling it down all the way to your feet. It might be playful. It may start feeling sensual. It may just feel like whatever it is. It doesn't even matter. But just beginning to feel your own power and your own amazing space. All of you showing up here to be joyful, to be free, to play. And now following, using your fingers as sort of your paintbrush or your piano keys, begin to play on your body as a canvas. Without shame, without apology, just maybe there's a little stroke on your forehead, on your cheeks, maybe it's a little tapping. Letting your fingers go to any part of your body that is starting to feel like it wants your attention. Maybe they've become a little bit of longer strokes down your arms, pulling sunlight from the sky and letting it begin to caress all of your body. All the way down to your toes if you can get that far, and if you can't, just go as far as you can go. And your hands connect and touch. Maybe you find yourself giving yourself a hug. We need 4 hugs a day to survive. We need 8 to maintain, and we need 12 to thrive. So, your body and your brain can't tell the difference if somebody else is hugging you or if you're hugging yourself. So whatever that feels like, as we begin to now think of our fingers as dipping into big buckets of paint. And the music's going to come up and it's going to be fast. And we're going to start dipping our fingers into buckets of paint and start splashing it all around us. Ready? Whatever color it is, you invent it. This is the colors of your life. Maybe your body is still the canvas. Where did that come from? The canvas, you're just pulling up paint, throwing it on the wall in any way it comes. And then maybe though you're really wanting to like get your fingers in there, smear it all over the place. Letting it just, there's nothing to think about. Just intuitively and instinctively take paint and glitter. Open up this glitter jar of yours and throw it all over the place. It's your imagination. You don't even have to clean this up. So let yourself just play. Take up space here. Take up as much space as your body wants to take. And add more movement to it. Really playful. Just moving all of the energy that you have, like just letting it be here. Make sure you get behind you, and to the side of you, and do long, beautiful strokes. You're making a masterpiece of your life and contributing to the collective's masterpiece. We are all perfect. You just keep adding more color. What color are you seeing the most today? You could unmute yourself and tell me if you want. I always see a mix of purple and turquoise. Is there a certain part of your body that wants to be painted? Take a moment, music's coming down, but it's going to come back. And just look at the masterpiece that you're creating. What are you creating in your movement? Where else can you go back and add a little bit more? Or take a little bit off? How can you rub this all into your body so that it gets into your bones and gets into your tissues and into your muscles and all the way into your blood and your bones. Giving attention to any part of you that is needing a little bit more love and attention. Adding little practices here just as you come back. The music's gonna come up. We have one more chance to spray paint our life. Maybe you write a word. Maybe you write the word joy. And that's the key word for your worksheet, joy. Just go ahead, write whatever word you want in the sky and witness your beautiful shining light. Feel triumphant, feel successful, feel that your life is being measured by something like joy. Now we're just going to bring this back down, coming back into your center, slowing it down. If you still have a little energy that you need to move through, just take a little walk around your space. Being grateful to give your body room to be here. Being grateful that you can do this practice. Just acknowledging what your body's language is telling you. Before we had words to speak with, we spoke with our bodies. And building in a few minutes every day to just allow your body to speak to you. And watching how your body wants to create. Try it, see what happens. Try it for a week. Thank you for going on that part of the journey with me. Catch your breath here. Allow your heartbeat to come down. It's a full cycle of breath. Transition into the meditation part. I'll let the music kind of run out, but just set up your space for how you would like to meditate today. This can be a standing meditation if you want to stand. You could come to a seated position with your feet flat on the ground. You could be on a cushion on the ground. In this particular meditation, you might even feel comfortable laying down. You might be laying down into like a shavasana pose with all of the points of your body touching the ground. You may also, if you're laying down, you may want to try to bring your legs up 90 degrees against the wall, allowing the blood to flow in a different direction. At any moment in time, you're welcome to change your position. We're not going to be very rigid or tight here. I'm going to be guiding standing up, but begin to feel like you're coming home. Coming home to your own body, to yourself. Coming into a space that feels safe. Noticing if there are any sounds around you. Allowing them to be here, not judging them. Checking with your body and finding a position that feels rooted and grounded. allowing whatever part of your body is making contact with the floor to feel a deeper connection into the earth. As if there's a cord, a golden cord, pulling you all the way down and anchoring you in into the core of the earth. If you are seated, take a check and roll your shoulders down and back. Spine is erect as possible if you're sitting. Feeling that the back is strong while your front and your chest is soft. If you're on the floor, just noticing all the points of contact with the earth. Beginning to feel comfortable, at ease. Bringing your attention to your breath. The normal breath. It's with us all the time. No manipulation here. Just inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the nose. Your eyes may be closed or open into a soft downward gaze. This is a diffused gaze. You're not staring. In fact, you're probably not even looking intently. Allowing the muscles behind your eyes to soften. Feeling the muscles in your face relax. Letting go of any tightness in your jaw or tongue. And being so happy that at this moment you don't have to speak. Enjoying the feeling of being silent and still. And now bringing your attention to your thoughts. Is your mind racing? Are you feeling the volume of the noise of your mind coming down or going up? You won't stop the thoughts. Your mind's job is to think. So just welcome it all in today, wherever you're at. But as these thoughts come, like waves passing over your life, just look at them, acknowledge them, label them thinking. Any emotion or sensation that comes up, label it thinking. Now we're going to play with the idea of our thoughts. Imagine that each thought that comes in is like a firefly light. Fireflies, those little insects in the summertime that send out a little beacon of light to the other fireflies. Oh, there's one. Did you see it? That little light. Oh, there's another one. Look at that thought running away. Do you remember as a child trying to catch fireflies? Oh, it's right there, right there. Oh, you missed it. It's gone. And there's that next thought, that little glimmer of light. And it's the part of the night when there are a lot of fireflies. You can start seeing them everywhere. Little firefly lights coming and going, in quick rotations, in quick rapid succession, all over the place that you're in. And now you find yourself being the observer of your thoughts, being the observer of all these little firefly lights that are coming at you. Do you begin to see a pattern in the lights? Do you begin to see a pattern of your thoughts? The same thought coming back and back and back again. The one that wants to tell you a story. Oh, but your thought is a firefly and it's gone. And the next firefly shines his little light. Meditation gives us the chance to bring stability to our mind, to not have to chase every thought. And when we can come to our creative space with a bit of groundedness, we can begin to shape the world in the way that we want to create it. Chaos is good sometimes, but so is groundedness, so is discipline, so is a practice. Coming back to your breath, the normal inhale and exhale of your breath. Enjoying the stillness, the quiet. Beginning to become aware again of the sounds in the room that you're in. Beginning to wiggle your toes and fingers, coming back to life, coming back into this moment. If you're laying down, I invite you to turn over to one side. If you're sitting in a chair, feel free to give your body a stretch, reaching above your head, stretching your legs, giving circles to your feet and ankles. And when you come back, we're going to move into the creation part, another creation part. And I will invite you to open your eyes if you haven't yet. And I picked a card before our session today. I love using tarot cards and oracle cards as a guiding thing. As sometimes it just gives you a keyword to think about. So as we move from this meditative state, we're going to go into a creative flow, bringing in sort of the energy of painting with our bodies and allowing our minds to be a little bit more grounded, hopefully, than they were when we got here. And I'm going to show you this card that I thought was just spot on for today. I'm always amazed how these work. It's a card it's the Enchanted Map deck that I'm using. And this, I hope you can see it. I know there's a little bit of a glare, but it's called Coming to Life. And I'd like those to be your keywords for today. As we go, we have a few minutes. There's this sort of magical creature, human, popping out of this stone, and there's light here, and there's all this color. But what I'd like you to do, there's a butterfly down here, and it's almost like he's part of the stone. What I'd like you to do is either take your pen or paper, take your markers, take your clay, take your scissors and glue, whatever your craft basket has, or whatever you have sitting nearby. You might even have leaves and sticks. I do a daily altar every day. I go for a little walk and I pull up little things I find along the way. whatever you have in your space is great. And if you don't have anything right now, just use your hands. I'm going to put on a few minutes of music. We're going to have about 5 minutes here, just to honor the time. And you can create what coming to life means to you. And I'm playing this song called Fresh Start. You always have a chance to come back and take a fresh start. Every breath, every moment, every hour is a chance to take a fresh start. Some things we can choose, some things we cannot, but we can be essence of joy, and we can cultivate joy. And we can cultivate joy through a creativity practice. I'm going to be really quiet now and just witness all of you, either on camera or off, creating what it feels like when you come to life. Have fun. Infuse your work with your flavor of joy. I'll put the music up a little bit. About another minute. I will share my playlist. Actually, I found all of this music on Artlist, which is Artlist. I think it's something like that. But I'll put it into the Facebook group. All right, 10 seconds. Finishing touches on this masterpiece that you just created. All right, that's it. And because we have just a few minutes, if you are willing, I would love for you to put up on camera whatever it is you just created and allow yourself to be seen and witnessed in whatever beautiful creation you just came out with. Look at that, Riley. Lovely. Thank you for sharing. We have a couple minutes if one or two of you would like to unmute and just share something that may have come up. If you would not like to share your creation, you can share your voice. No pressure either. As we're holding space for each other in our glorious joy in creation, I will just put right here in the chat, I have a bunch of different workshops coming up if you'd like to go deeper. If you go to alwaysonmyway.com, click through the upcoming events section, you'll see I actually have quite a busy April coming up. And in May, the registration's not open yet, but in May, from May 6th, 7th, and 8th, I am hosting the Fierce Awakened Woman 2022 Creativity Jam. There will be even more flavors of creative, beautiful presence there if you'd like to check that out. That's at a different site. That site is at, well, it's thefierceawakenedwoman.com. I'll put that. The registration opens on hopefully April 8th. That's when I'll start taking registration. There are some free gifts and discounts for you. I think that's on the speaker page, or Kim and Linda will get this to us. But on short, there's a free on-demand video that I made about rewriting your COVID story and taking a little bit of creative collage making to rewrite your COVID story, because we all have one now, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how we all see life. And then there's a 50% discount if you'd like to participate in one of my Friday sessions. I have a rotating series of workshops that one week we do movement, one week we do meditative flow, the next week we do making, crafting, guided crafted sessions, and then there's a mindful writing session as well at the end of the month. So that's me. I really am super grateful for all of you. I'm glad you were able to take some time and be with me today. And thank you, Crystal, for being a moderator. Thank you, Ryan, for your tech help. And thank you, Kim and Linda, of course, for hosting this beautiful event and gathering us together. So I will close my sacred space. I will come back into the lobby. I know there's another session coming in. I'll be around for a little while. I'm in Europe, so the time difference, I'll be around for a little while, in and out. But please don't leave the meeting. Please leave the room and go back to the lobby. I think I got that right, Crystal? So thank you, everybody. Do joyful work.